Hey friends, I hope you are doing great. And today we'll talk about some small things that most of the beginners don't know about C, like has, int, main. Why is that int there before main or return 0? So let's get started. So as you can see, I have opened this Chrome here, and Chrome doesn't help to run C language, but Chrome helps a lot to get knowledge and get the answers you want. So that's a great habit of programmers. When you try to learn something or you have questions, ask to Google. Okay, that's a great thing. Read some documentation and some posts, some other questions like Stack Overflow. If you don't know Stack Overflow, please just look about it on Google. What is Stack Overflow? It will help you a lot. It does, really does. So for now, let's see what is hash. So hash is called preprocessor. So anything you write with hash, it will get processed even before the main function. So that's very important, and it has a lot of other uses. Not only that, to include the header files, it has a lot more use of that hash. And you can search simply like what is preprocessor in C. So and other thing is main function can take two arguments. You don't know about that, I guess, because to make it to because in first teachers don't want to make it confusing, so they just show you this syntax when main without arguments, but actually main can take two arguments. Like if I show you, so this is how it is called. So int, an integer and a string of characters, no, a string array. So what are the uses of it, and why would we use this, right? So if you just read it slightly, you will get the answer here. That the green tick is saying that this is kind of the best answer, and here people are awesome, they have awesome knowledge, and they try to explain it the best in the best way they can. So the arguments argc, like argument count, and argv of main is used as a way to send arguments to the program while you are running the main function. Okay, at that time you can send the arguments. Like if you are trying to run that call that add function, you can call it from main and you can give argument to that. But when you want to give argument to main function when you are running it at the first time, so how you are going to give the argument. So this is how you are going to give the arguments, by through these two variables. You don't need more variables for that, and this two is going to work for you. How many, even if you have more arguments, so how it is done. So here it says that the program receives the number of arguments in the argc, and the vector of arguments in argcv in the above the argument count. That is what I said. This is for our argument count. Number of arguments, first integer, would be 2, and the program name count as the first argument, and the argument vector would be cat file null. Okay, this is, I'm going to explain that with an example. So let's say printf and hi friends. Okay, and save it. What's the name? Basics dot c. okay, a dot out, and we get hi friends. But what if we print these two arguments now? Let's say print argc is equal to %d, because it is a integer, as you can see from its type, integer, and print argc. Okay, save it and compile it and run it. So see, argc is 1. It counts the number of command lines actually. So let me show you what is there inside this argument vectors. So we can use this integer for that how many arguments are there, and we want to print all of them less than argc and I plus plus as usual, and a printf, and we can use %s actually for that, because it is going to be a string. And so %s is for string. This is a format specifier, yes, and that's another thing beginners don't know. What is this %d, %s? It is called format specifier. It specifies what format like what data type are you going to print. Okay, so %d is for, you can use %i for integer 2, %s for string, and there are a few more. And we want to print argv, and the index will be I. Okay, save it and compile it, no errors. Okay, and run it. So as you can see, the first printf prints hi friends, that's okay, and the argument is 1. Okay, and what is that argument stored in this argument vector is this, because as I said, it stores the command line, how many commands you are using. So we can pass the required values from here. How we can do that? Let's say I want a name, let's say a name. Okay, a name, and I can say second name. Okay, so and if we run it now, so now you can see this integer has the value 3, because we are using 3 command lines here, and the first one is of course the one we are using to run the main function, and the other 2 are these, and we can literally use these 2 things we have passed to the main function. So this is how you pass the values you want to main function when you are running it. Okay, so this is the actual syntax of main function, and this and the other things are like if statement. Beginners don't know that if statement doesn't, if the actual syntax of if, the way we first learn it, like see condition and then the block of code, like we say body, and this is not the actual syntax of C if statement, because this must not be a condition. It can be anything. We can call it like any statement or any expression. Okay, Boolean expression we can call it. So it evaluates that expression or anything you have given there. It evaluates that, and then it decides is it true or false. Okay, then it's anything that after the evaluation or after the completion of that thing you have put here, and then it will going to decide is it true or false, and according to that it will run the block of code. Okay, it doesn't have to be a condition. So for example, you can even put a printf here. Okay, and a. Okay, let's give a new line, and we cannot put a semicolon here because this is going to terminate there. And okay, literally save it and just compile it and run it. So you can see a is actually printing this because this is a call. Actually this is a normal call to that printf function that print this, but this is not a error because it evaluates this and returns something. That is a different issue, but you can see this is not a syntax error. So actually that means that here you don't have to put like a greater than b or a equal to b or a less than equal to b, so that's not mandatory. And if you print something here, so we can see that if we can see it like true, because if it is true here, then it's going to print this. Okay, we need to omit this comma here because there is no variable. And again compile it and run it, and it says true. That means that after calling this printf, it returns something and that is true. That is why if it is a true condition, okay, it evaluates to be true, and so the time is next it is going to run the block of code for if. And what does printf returns? That's a question again. Like what printf returns? Printf actually returns an integer, which is the number of character it has printed. For now we can like okay, let's store that in a variable I is equal to this, and here you can put one actually is true. Okay, because in C basically there is no true and false like boolean. Okay, so for C language, okay, there is some other things, but basically you, for beginners, you can think is like there is no boolean. And in C language 0 is false. Okay, 0 is false and null is false, and other than that everything is true. So it is not like that boolean, like true is only true and false is only false, and 0 is false and 1 is true. No, 0 is false, but anything other than 0, even the negative integers are also looked as true values. So you can put even 100, so it is a true. So if is always going to run its block of code. So let's see if it does or not, and what that printf returns. We can see that too. Okay, I haven't printed that variable, so let's say %d comma I. Okay, I has that value what printf returned. Compile it and run it. Okay, so as you can see, no syntax error. That's important because we kind of thought like it will give a syntax error, but and 100 is a true value for if, that is why it is running this line. So there is 6 characters actually, but it returns 7, and the reason is this /n. Okay, so /n means actually enter, and enter is also a character. Beginners also don't know that because just teachers don't say that to not to make you confused, I guess. But from now onwards you just remember that enter is also a character, and character doesn't mean like A, B and C. Space is a character, enter is also a character, and the special characters like the percentage sign, asterisk, and parentheses all are considered as characters. So if you see, there is actually 7 characters, 6 A's and this new line, that means enter. This is why the value is 7. The printf returns 7, and exactly in the same way scanf also returns something. Scanf returns the number of values it has stored successfully. Okay, and as I said, if here it doesn't have to be a condition, it can be any expression, and it after that it will decide it is a 0 or null, so it is false, and other than that it is true. And exactly the same thing happens with while and for loops. So it's not mandatory like the first. For in case of for loop, the first is initialization, then condition, and then increment. That's not mandatory, it can change. Okay, if you have the clear idea what it does, do some googling. Okay, and global variables. Okay, global variables, like if you do something like this, so I is now a global variable, and global variable has a lifetime, like throughout the program it will be created at first, and then it will exist till the end of your program, and it can be accessed by any function anywhere in this program. Okay, this is global variable. But okay, and global variable automatically has the value of 0 even if you don't initialize it. Okay, let me show you. Compile it and run it, and as you can see, it doesn't have that garbage value you may expect if you don't know it. Like if you have a local variable and if you didn't initialize it, it can have garbage values, but in case of global variables it has the value 0 if you don't initialize it. Okay, and operators, there are operators that also beginners don't practice or don't know. The basic operators that can be useful, like this AND operator, OR operator, that is two pipes. So these two are very useful even for beginners. Okay, so these two, what exactly does is, let's say there is a condition A and there is a condition B, and to run this block of code, these two, both of the conditions must be true. So both the sides of this AND have to be true. Okay, then only this function is going to run. Anything, this block of code can be run. Okay, so both the condition need to be true. And in case of OR, and another important thing is, if the first condition evaluates to be false, it will not check the second condition. Or if you have the third condition, it is also possible you can give a third condition, even the fourth. So all of them must be true, have to be true, because to run this block of code. And in case the first one is false, it will not check the other two, or if the second is false, it will not check the last one. Okay, because that's how AND works. Like if the first one is false, no need to check the second one. And exactly, you can also use OR, and OR means, like the English word OR means the same. And also if you relate it with the OR operator, OR gate in electronics subject, you have already read it, I guess. Electronics, there is OR gate and all are the same. OR means any of the two conditions have to be true to run this block of code. Maybe A is true or B is true, that doesn't matter, only the one has to be true. And if the first one is true, then it doesn't check the second one. no point of checking the second one, and you can like use one more or and another conditions. Okay, that is also no syntax error. And there is bitwise operators. So bitwise operators, like you can do something like a I is equal to a or b. It will operate this operator bit in a bitwise manner. So I am not going to explain all of these. You can google, or there are a lot of examples of that. And like bitwise and there is bitwise XOR. So a XOR b, you can do something like this. Okay, of course you need to like store it if you want, or you can print it directly like an expression. So this is XOR operator, and this is very useful. Like I showed in my previous video, if you use XOR operator, you can use XOR operator to swap value of two variables without using a third variable, or that plus operator or minus operator or any other operator. So just XOR operator can swap two variables, value of two variables. Okay, and there are other things like left shift. So left shift, so shift is left shift, it will shift the binary digits. Okay, so let's say a has a value and you want to left shift it by 2 digit, and it will left shift 2 digit, and the new positions on the right side will be filled with zeros. And you can do the same with right shift. So right shift 2, and it will shift the binary digits 2 digit from left to right, and then new positions will be filled with zeros again. And there are ternary operator. Ternary operator is a like one line representation of if else. Okay, ternary operator is something like this, I guess, if I do remember properly. So let's do a search about that ternary operator in C language. Okay, let's go with the first one. So as I said, this is how ternary operator works, and just copy it. Let me paste it here. So test means here you can put a condition. As I said, like if you put a condition here, so that will be same like putting a condition here, and if it is true, it will run this. Okay, so this means this 3 means this block of code. Okay, and then if it is false, it will run this. Anything can be here. Okay, and this character 1 is considered as the else part. Okay, so this condition is like this line of if, and then this 3 is the block, this one, and this one is else block. So it is a simple representation of this whole thing. Okay, if and else, and it can be nested, and that will get a little bit of confusing, so I'm not gonna do that now. And ternary operator, and there is a lot more, but the video is getting longer now, and there is a lot of things in C language that even I don't know, and beginners also don't know. That's okay, but like there is things like file handling. You can open files, store things on that file, and networking programming you can do by C language, like socket programming and all that. And I have 2 questions for you, and do some research about it on Google, and that would be a great habit. And the questions are, why return 0 is here? Can this 0 be changed? If you change this 0 to like 50, will it be a syntax error? So you can do that on your own and search it if you want to know how it works, and you can comment down that below if you get the answer. And another question is, why is this f is here? It could be a simple function like print, that would be more meaningful and thoughtful, I guess. But why that extra f is here, print f? And scan f, why it is called scan f? It could be called just scan. Why it is called with this f? So do some googling about that and get the answer, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.